Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into a topic that affects every single one of us, every single day: dopamine. You've probably heard it called the pleasure molecule, but that's just scratching the surface. Dopamine is a master conductor in the orchestra of your brain, influencing everything from your motivation to get out of bed in the morning, to how you learn, remember, and even make decisions. It's the driving force behind that feeling of satisfaction when you check something off your to-do list, the joy of a good meal, and the thrill of a new adventure. But its role is far more complex than just pleasure. It's also a key player in movement, attention, and even our emotional responses. Understanding how this powerful neurotransmitter works isn't just a fun science fact. It's a fundamental key to unlocking better mental well-being and a more fulfilling life. So let's get into it. At its core, dopamine is the currency of your brain's reward system. Think of it like this. When you do something that your brain perceives as beneficial for survival, like eating nutritious food or connecting with friends, it releases a burst of dopamine. This creates a pleasurable sensation that essentially tells your brain, hey, that was good. Let's do that again. This process is called reinforcement, and it's how we form habits, both good and bad. For instance, a 2018 study published in the journal Neuron showed that even the anticipation of a reward, not just receiving it, is enough to trigger a significant dopamine release. This is why you feel excited on your way to your favorite restaurant, not just when you take the first bite. This reward system is absolutely essential. It motivates us to seek out experiences that promote our health and survival. But there's a flip side. This same system can be hijacked by things that give us an unnatural, intense dopamine spike, which we'll talk more about later. So, how can we naturally keep our dopamine levels in a healthy, balanced state? The good news is, you don't need anything fancy. Two of the most powerful and scientifically backed methods are regular exercise and social interaction. Let's start with exercise. When you engage in physical activity, especially aerobic exercise like running or swimming, your brain boosts dopamine production. A study in the journal Neuropsychopharmacology found that just 20 minutes of moderate intensity exercise can elevate mood and dopamine levels for several hours. In fact, research indicates that long-term regular exercise can increase the density of dopamine receptors in the brain, meaning your brain becomes more efficient at using the dopamine it has. It's like upgrading your brain's hardware to better handle motivation and pleasure. Then there's social interaction. Humans are social creatures, and positive connections with others are a huge natural dopamine booster. Think about the warmth you feel when you laugh with a friend or share a hug with a loved one. That's dopamine at work. Neuroimaging studies have shown that engaging in cooperative and supportive social interactions activates the brain's reward circuitry in a way that is very similar to receiving a tangible reward. One study even found that receiving social approval online triggered a greater dopamine response in teens than winning money. This highlights just how wired we are for connection. Making time for friends, family, and community isn't just nice, it's a biological necessity for our mental well-being. So, calling a friend or going for a walk with someone you care about is a direct deposit into your brain as feel-good account. Let's get practical. How can we integrate these natural dopamine boosters into our busy lives? First, start small with exercise. You don't need to run a marathon. Aim for a 20-minute brisk walk each day. Listen to your favorite music or a podcast while you do it to make it more enjoyable. The goal is consistency, not intensity. Second, schedule your social time just like you would any other important appointment. Call mom or coffee with Sarah on your calendar. Third, focus on your diet. Foods rich in tyrosine, the amino acid that's a precursor to dopamine, can help. Think almonds, bananas, avocados, and lean protein like chicken and fish. 4. Get, eat, not sleep. Sleep deprivation has been shown to significantly reduce dopamine receptor availability. Aim for 7 to 9 hours per night. And finally, practice mindfulness and celebrate small wins. Acknowledging your accomplishments, no matter how small, gives you a little dopamine hit and builds momentum. It's about creating a lifestyle that consistently feeds your brain what it needs to thrive. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. Dopamine isn't just about seeking rewards. It's also a crucial teacher when things go wrong. It drives what scientists call avoidance learning. When an outcome is worse than expected, dopamine levels drop sharply. This dip in dopamine acts as a powerful signal, a prediction error that tells your brain, well, that wasn't good. Let's avoid that in the future. For example, if you touch a hot stove, the pain causes a negative outcome, and the subsequent dopamine drop helps ingrain the lesson: don't touch hot stoves. A 2013 study from the Max Planck Institute showed that dopamine neurons are highly active in encoding these negative prediction errors, effectively teaching us what to avoid. So, dopamine is a two-sided coin. It pushes us toward pleasure and pulls us away from pain, constantly refining our behavior based on our experiences. This dual role makes dopamine a central figure in our decision-making process. Every choice you make, from what to eat for lunch to whether to accept a new job offer, involves a complex calculation of potential reward versus potential risk, and dopamine is right in the middle of it all. It helps you weigh the potential pleasure of a decision against the potential negative consequences. Research published in the Journal of Neuroscience used fMRI scans to show that when people make risky financial decisions, the activity in their brain's dopamine pathways predicts whether they will choose a safe small reward or gamble on a larger uncertain one. Higher anticipated dopamine release can make us more inclined to take risks. This is why understanding your own dopamine triggers is so important. It helps you recognize when you're making a decision based on a rational assessment versus when you're just chasing a dopamine high, which can lead to impulsive or poor choices. Now we have to talk about the elephant in the room: social media. The design of platforms like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and X is a masterclass in dopamine manipulation. The variable reward schedule, the unpredictable nature of likes, comments, and notifications is incredibly effective at keeping you hooked. It's the same principle that makes slot machines so addictive. You post a photo. You don't know if your lines get 10 likes or 100. That uncertainty keeps your dopamine system on high alert, and every notification delivers a small hit of pleasure, reinforcing the behavior of checking your phone again and again. A Stanford study found that the constant stream of novel information and social validation on these platforms can lead to a state of dopamine dysregulation. Your brain's baseline dopamine level can drop, making it harder to find pleasure in less stimulating, real-world activities. This can contribute to feelings of anxiety, poor focus, and even depression. It's crucial to be mindful of our usage and take regular breaks to allow our reward system to reset. This might sound counterintuitive, but one of the most powerful ways to harness your dopamine system for long-term growth is by learning to embrace failure. When we try something and fail, but then reevaluate and try again, something amazing happens in our brain. The effort itself, the process of striving toward a goal, releases dopamine. Carol Dweck's research on growth mindset at Stanford aligns perfectly with this. She found that people who believe their abilities can be developed, who embrace challenges and persist through setbacks, are far more successful than those who believe their abilities are fixed. When you view failure not as a final judgment but as a learning opportunity, you reframe the experience. The subsequent effort to improve and try again releases dopamine, which motivates you to keep going. That dopamine hit isn't from achieving the final goal, but from the act of striving itself. It's the brain's way of rewarding effort and persistence, which are essential for learning and mastery. So, what's the big takeaway? Understanding dopamine is about more than just knowing a bit of brain science. It's about taking control of your motivation, your habits, and your overall mental well-being. By recognizing that dopamine drives you toward reward and away from pain, you can start to build a life that is intentionally designed to support a healthy, balanced dopamine system. It's not about chasing constant highs, which is a recipe for burnout and disappointment. It's about cultivating sustainable sources of motivation and pleasure through exercise, social connection, meaningful work, and a growth mindset. By making conscious choices about how you spend your time and energy, you are actively shaping your brain's chemistry for the better. You are building resilience, enhancing your ability to focus, and laying the foundation for long-term happiness and fulfillment. Thanks so much for watching. It's clear that managing our dopamine is key to a healthier, more motivated life. Get ready, because in my next video, I'm diving deep into a super practical 7-day dopamine reset plan. Each day, I'll share specific instructions that'll help you recalibrate your brain's reward system and break free from those pesky, unhealthy cycles. You won't want to miss this. We'll tackle daily tasks, they build on each other, creating a solid path to success. Are you excited? Let's do this together. To make sure you get that video, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. If you found this information helpful, please give this video a thumbs up. See you next time.